We just wanted to spend time and talk about philosophy. That's what Jeremy and me like to do. And it starts with what does it mean to be happy? What does it mean to lead a good life? Just going over the low bar of following the law is not enough. One has to meet the high bar of being a just individual. So the constitutional justice, according to Aristotle, is making sure that people are given what is due to them, and how it determines what is due to them is based on merit. So the bottom layers of social security, health, education, this is the responsibility of the state. And so constitutional justice, then, I believe, is more that a state should be giving people what they need based on what they lack, as opposed to based on what they have. If I'm looking at justice from a constitutional perspective, I think the state should protect the weakest and not worry so much about the interests of the strongest.
I just read today that the owner of Google is spending like upwards of 60 million in California to market against the billionaire tax initiative, right? It's like he's spending 60 million in advertising against having to pay taxes.
Honestly, I'm not saying that this is an easy question to answer, and equity gets very hard to define. And the problem becomes in criminal situations where you and me are not in a voluntary agreement, right? How then? What is justice in that situation? If you steal a goat, well, you get your arm chopped off. It's probably not eye for an eye. It's worse. If someone loses a loved one because of a violent act, whatever you do to the criminal doesn't make up for that loss, right?
And it's probably because they were a person of color, not because they were a white male. The white male may have gotten a slap on the wrist, right? Like that is not equal justice.
Yeah. So at least what we are discussing here is the fact that this is so messy. There's something that we all know intrinsically. What is it to be a good human being? But majority of the world is humans are not psychopaths. Majority of them are logical creatures. So we talk about a rational individual. A rational individual is one, and there are many definitions of it, but the highest definition of this is someone who knows the difference between good and evil. Now, a rational individual knows the difference. The just individual chooses to do good, right? The unjust individual chooses to do evil. I think the same thing is true for a corporation.
Yeah. No.
When it comes to the state, because the state is formed voluntarily, as it is being formed, those decisions are made. The people who form the state are considered rational individuals. They know what is good and evil, and if they choose evil, they create an unjust state. If they choose good, they create a just state. It is a choice.
But I wonder if we actually are set up in a just state now, or if we're actually living in an unjust state at times where there's a shift away from democratic states across the world, right? There's more autocratic nations that have come into play. Like, isn't it nice for me to say as the white man, like, oh, we live in a just society?
Yeah.
And that I get, it's easy for those who, for the majority, to be able to say that and have different privileges that the others don't have and don't experience.
You want to eat the donut, but you don't eat the donut because you know it's not good for you in the long run. So who is telling whom not to eat the donut? It's like you are telling yourself. That means there is a part of you that wants to eat the donut. And there's a part of you that knows that that's not the right thing to do. If we were to go out there and just spend our time participating in those desires, you have like a rock star lifestyle. And rock star lifestyles usually end in terrible addiction, terrible suicides,
Right.
and so on and so forth. Right? That is the argument against following a life of pleasure. It's a tyrannical life. It's a
Yeah.
tyrannical existence. Right? Like they say that only a good man can harm himself. That's why Socrates drinks hemlock.
Right. So we can leave with the question is, who is ready? You're in a republic.